The Stanley Cup playoffs on Home Team Sports. The Washington Capitals getting on the scoreboard. They have cut the deficit to 1. 2 periods of play into the books. And welcome back. I'm Jeff Rimmer here in our Home Team Sports studios. We'll welcome the general manager and coach of the Baltimore Skipjacks, Doug MacLean, in a moment. But first, a look at the scoring track, sponsored by Track Auto. And all the scoring tonight for the Boston Bruins coming in period number 1. 53 seconds in, the Boston goal. Carter from Carpenter, number 5 for Carter, and the Bruins were up 1-0. At 18:42, Boston made it a 2-0 lead as Neely scored his 11th of the playoffs. Hoggett and Janney drawing assists. That was a power play goal, and it was a 2-0 Boston lead. And then at 15:02, Nick Kypreos up from the Baltimore Skipjacks, scoring from Leach and Ridley. The Washington Capitals cutting the deficit to 1. They trail in the series 3-0, but got to show a lot of character for the Washington Capitals here tonight in that second period, and they're right back in this hockey game. Well, as we mentioned, Doug MacLean joining us, and Doug, you've got to be particularly proud of the number of Washington Capital players that are there tonight that spent some time with you in Baltimore, and Nick Kypreos coming up with a big goal, and some of those Baltimore youngsters really coming through tonight.
Really nice to see 6 players that started the season in Baltimore finish, coming on in the end in the playoffs and getting a chance to play, and really gratifying to see Kent Painter and Steve Malte and Nick Kypreos and Rob Murray, who were recently there. So I'm really pleased to see them contributing there tonight and hopefully to extend this series.
All right, what about the Capitals tonight? What do they got to do now here in the third period?
Well, I thought we played a lot better in the second period. I thought we started to control the neutral zone a little better, where I think has been our major weakness the whole series. And I think we did a much better job putting pressure on their defense and moving up to close the gap in the neutral zone. So I think if we can contain that, plus get our forecheck, we're getting great enthusiasm from the Murray, May, Kypreos line, and if that enthusiasm carries over to the rest of the team, we've got a good opportunity to win the game.
All right, what's Terry Murray telling the young guys in the dressing room right now?
Well, I think he'd be talking about the second period because it has to be a positive period for them. Maybe the most positive of the whole series, or at least the last couple of games. So I think he's saying let's do a lot of the same things we did that period. As I said, the forechecking game has got to come together. Neutral zone was much stronger, and let's get the puck to the net. I mean, we forecheck, Kypreos goes to the net and scores. So they got to continue to do that, no doubt about it.
You know, you look at the Boston Bruins, and they're led by Ray Bourque. He and Cam Neely again having solid games, but the Capitals coming on in the second period and actually controlling the hockey game.
Well, I think, that's encouraging. And now with the Bruins losing Beers, that's a plus, because I thought the Bruins started to look tired the last 6 or so minutes of the period. With down to 5 defense, if we can continue to bump them and put pressure, I think it may turn around here a little bit.
How about the year for the Baltimore Skipjacks? We haven't had a chance to talk to you since you lost to the Rochester Americans, but still a very positive year for the Skipjacks, the organization, and the hockey fans coming out in great numbers this season.
I think it was a great year. We finished with 93 points and 3rd overall in the American League. We lost to a good team in Rochester. I thought it was disappointing at the end to lose, but, I thought we had a tremendous year, and I think... we had a chance to beat Rochester. We lost the game in overtime in Rochester in Game 5, which was a tough loss. But, I come away with a lot of good memories versus the negative ones. And I think the Capitals have a lot of good prospects there, and they've got to be happy with it.
All right, very quickly here in closing up, I noticed you were kind of hanging around, looking around. We were talking to Don Cherry. Did you learn anything about interview techniques there?
No, but the one thing I learned is when you tell me I'm going to go on, and then when a star like Cherry shows up, I find out how easy it is to get bumped.
Well, hey, you got to go with the name.
All right, I appreciate that.
Doug MacLean joining us here on Home Team Sports. Stay tuned. We've got more of our second intermission ahead.
Yeah, we just scored. No, I didn't see Kevin get hit. Kev, you okay?
I wind up in the hospital, and Bob gets a winning goal.
I couldn't let Kevin miss the party.
I was having a pretty good time where I was.
Friends deserve the best.
Friendship. Just being there.
The crisp, clean taste of Canada's best beer, Labatt's Blue.
I have to be flat on my back to get Bob to buy me a balloon.
Between friends, it's true blue. Labatt's Blue.
Universal Studios and U.S. Air take you to the stars. Meet the greatest monster in movie history. Soar beyond the stars with E.T. Come face to face with a 30-ton killer shark. Then hold on for the big one, Earthquake. Come to Hollywood or Florida and make believe with Universal Studios and U.S. Air.
This graph shows how ordinary gasoline builds up deposits on intake valves. On the road, it can cause hesitation, loss of performance. But when Texaco's System 3 gasoline was used, valves actually got cleaner. On the graph, it looks like this. On the road, it looks like this. 5 tanks, it gets even better.
Think of the glass on the left as a new 1990 Honda Accord LX. Now think of the glass on the right as a new 1990 Toyota Camry LE. Interesting. The Camry offers more and costs less. If you're looking for the best value, the choice is obvious. Toyota Camry. More car for less money. See your Toyota dealer. We deliver value today and tomorrow.
Here's Stevie Wonder.
Oh, no matter what you do, know that I'll be there for you. You can depend on me, yeah.
Kodak batteries have been improved, so now you can rock up to 111 days without changing the batteries in your radio. Kodak batteries. Depend on us to last longer.
Well, the Washington Capitals back on the scoreboard. They trailed 2-1 to the Boston Bruins. We've completed 40 minutes of action here tonight in Game 4 of the Wales Conference Finals. Mike Forens welcoming you back to Home Team Sports along with Al Koken. The Caps getting on the board, very important, I think, to go into this third period. We talked about a 2-goal lead being almost insurmountable. Now they must have some confidence knowing they can dent Andy Moog's armor.
Well, it comes down to a 20-minute hockey game, and the Capitals have that 1-goal handicap, but if they can at least win this period by 1 goal, their season continues, forcing overtime. If they win it by 2, then they stay alive, forcing a 5th game, and who knows what could happen if you put a little bit of doubt in the minds of the Boston Bruins and get a real lift by a comeback victory. But they had to get on the board, as you mentioned, Mike, and they did it in an odd situation with Nick Kypreos, the guy who was been playing on the 4th line. He stayed out there on that shift. As we see the shot chart and you see where Kypreos scored from, and the Caps finally get a little bit of pressure in front, but there had been a shift where Steve Maltese had stayed out longer in Kypreos' spot. When Maltese went off, Kypreos came out, and he didn't come off the ice when the line change was made. He's out there with Ridley and Leach, and look what happens. The Bruins start to go deep behind that net, and for the first time in as long as I can remember this series going on, they vacate that slot area. Nick Kypreos just jumps right down to the middle, takes a perfect pass from Stephen Leach, doesn't try and do anything fancy, doesn't try and get it to the forehand, just puts it on goal with the backhand and beats Andy Moog to get the Capitals started.
For a simple scoring play, it was a pretty fancy celebratory skate there, wasn't it, afterwards? You could tell there was a lot of joy for Nick Kypreos. We'll have a look now at the Boston shot chart and see there's 6 shots. No goals coming, and this time Boston overloading over on the right side.
Well, everything coming from that position, and, you know, when you can get guys like Randy Burridge and Prop not really getting going on that side, that's a big plus, and you're in a situation, too, where I think Mike Liut made a couple dandy saves, one on Prop, and he, I think, kept that team going in that second period with a couple nice saves.
What about the loss now of Beers? We're told that it is a broken leg above the knee. The Bruins have to be thinking about their teammate a little bit. What kind of an effect might that play on Boston in the third period, considering some of the rough stuff that went on in Game 3?
Well, this is where you start to see if the Capitals' heavy pressure and that heavy hitting on the Bruin defense finally takes its toll. It's like body punches. You wear these guys out. Maybe you can force them into a bad pass, slow them down a bit. Maybe they won't be as quick to get in there and block those shots. Without Beers, they're going to have to go with 5 defensemen, although Allgood can play a little bit of D, but again, a smaller guy. So see if you can wear him down to get the equalizer because of it.
Okay, we'll be back with the opening face-off of period 3 right after this.
Announcing the Subaru Spring Training Program. Fans, now's the time to drive home with Subaru, like the Legacy, with a power-hitting 16-valve, 130-horsepower engine, the options of civilized 4-wheel drive and anti-lock brakes. You can save up to $1,500. That baby is out of here.
Factory-to-dealer cash incentives on selected models mean you could save up to $1,500 on a Subaru.
Right now at Jiffy Lube, you'll get great service and great savings with the Pennzoil Car Care Savings Book. It's filled with coupons that can save you over $80 on helpful car care products. And it's yours free with any oil change using the world-class protection of quality Pennzoil. So come by participating Jiffy Lube today. Get a fast, professional oil change with quality Pennzoil and your free Pennzoil Car Care Savings Book.
Tuesday is Ladies' Day at Jiffy Lube. Come by for a 14-point service and a special surprise just for the ladies.
The is back at Hardee's, accompanied by new crispy curls fries. It's a classic taste with a new twist. Thousands cheer the big taste of 2 burgers, lettuce, cheese, and Big Twin sauce. Hundreds thrill at the specially seasoned crispy curls. Yes, America, the Big Twin is back, but only at Hardee's. And right now, you can get the Big Twin for an incredible 99 cents plus tax. That's right, just 99 cents. So hurry to Hardee's.
The quality is what I would say the customer really appreciates. The turkey is all natural turkey. The hams don't contain a whole lot of water.
We have all different kinds of things. I think they all make a Safeway Deli special. Cheese Table is a specialty of mine, and we have a variety from different countries, plus a good selection of domestic cheeses. I think the selection is very unusual, and I think that's what draws a lot of people to the deli. Come see the difference at Safeway.
Washington Capitals game coverage on Home Team Sports is brought to you by Safeway. Come see the difference at Safeway. 120-minute period remaining in regulation time in Game 4 of the Prince of Wales Conference Championship between the Washington Capitals and the Boston Bruins. The Bruins have the lead, but the Capitals have the momentum. Let's check in before we face off with Jeff Rimmer.
Thanks, Mike. And as the Washington Capitals' few remaining players come out of the dressing room, reminder to keep an eye here, particularly in the first few minutes of period number 3, on what the Capitals can do here in the Boston end of the rink. Doug McLean talking in terms of wearing down that Bruin defense, and as Doug pointed out, he thought the team tired there in the latter stages of period number 2. It'll be interesting to see what happens here in the first few minutes as the Capitals attempt to get the equalizer and go from there. We're set to go, period number 3. Let's rejoin Mike Forbes and Al Koken.
Thank you, Jeff, and it's also going to be interesting to see what kind of pressure the Capitals can put on Dennis Morel. It's a situation where I think, as we've seen for most of the series, the referees have allowed the players to play the game, which I definitely agree is the best way to do it. But you're also in a situation, if you really come battling back and start driving to the front of that net, it's going to be clutch and grab hockey. And what will be called? Will anybody get a power play opportunity? As only one came in that second period. Scott Stevens is back on the ice after getting stitched up. He has been terrific all game long. He has got 3 of the 11 Capital shots on goal, 2 of them coming in that second period, besides playing a dandy game on defense, blocking shots, blocking passes, and again, doing the usual tough physical work that you come to expect from Scott Stevens.
Well, it's going to take a very large effort here from the Washington Capitals to keep this series going. Stevens is out on the ice with Rouse, May up front with Kyprios and Murray. This line has done a very good job in this game.
Exactly, and you can see the strategy coming to play. Terry Murray has started this line for each of the 3 periods. This is the physical line. This is the line he wants to get in there and try and wear down the defense. Dump, chase, and start doing some hitting. You're down by a goal. You're not getting offensive-minded players out there, but you are getting physical people out to try and shake some things up and set the tone early.
Here's Burridge for Boston, checked by Bork. The puck cleared outside the line to center, and now Burridge turns it over to Dave Christian. A slap shot deflected wide by Stevens. Scott Stevens into the corner of his own zone. Just underway with period 3. Bruins leading 2-1. Bruins dump it back in, and here on the right wing is Al May. Tied up by Poulin. Now Stevens up to center ice. Passes to Kyprios. Nick Kyprios walking in. Can't get the shot off. It's taken to the corner by Alan May. Now May behind the net. Trapped on the back of the goal, finally worked loose, and Painter in the corner. Over now to Alan May. May tries to kick it away to put it in front of the net. Chased up the boards. Pavanka cannot take possession, and it's cleared all the way down back into the Washington zone. Neil Sheehy up the right wing boards for Kent Painter. Here's Painter to the blue line. Now out to center ice, right side for Berglund. Sends it across the blue line into the Boston zone. It's played to center, and Painter's back to get it. Kent Painter, right side. Neil Sheehy out to Berglund at center ice, hit by Peterson. Berglund tries to keep it going, but John Carter comes in to take over. Carter dumping it off the glass back into the Washington zone, and Painter's back to get it. Painter right side for Berglund. Played by Sheehy out to center. Peterson dumps it ahead for Prop. Now Maltz Duarte into the corner to try and work it free from Neely. Painter in to throw a hit, but Painter takes a spill after bumping Neely. Neely stands his ground. Here's Prop. He fires wide of the Washington goal. Berglund has it poke check to the corner. Craig Janney works it to Prop. Held up by Malte. Centering pass and into the top corner of the net. Sheehy was all over Neely, trying to push him away time and time again, but Neely gets free. And a quick conversion over the shoulder of Liut. The Bruins are back in control with a 2-goal lead at 3-1.
Is this guy unbelievable? He's big, he's tough, but what a touch around the net. Wait till you see this shot. Not only is it a backhand and a very quick spinning backhand, but look how high into the net he gets it. And what a great play by Prop. He's rubbed out, and look at how that pass comes all the way through. Just a quick spin, pivot move, and what a dynamite shot from a great player, Cam Neely. And what work in the along the boards and in the corner by Prop to set it up. Gee, he looks like he's got him. And an amazing play by an amazing player may be the goal that has broken the back of the Washington Capitals.
Time of the goal, 2 minutes. Prop and Janney assisting on Neely's second of the night and 12th of the playoffs. On a pass that never should have made it to the front of the Washington goal. The Bruins leading 3-1. We're just underway with the third period.
Lazarus borealis, Didelphus marsupialis.
Many creatures in the animal kingdom come out at night.
Tyto alba.
Some are more exciting to watch than others.
Have delivered all series long. As you mentioned, Mike, a pass that should never have gotten to him, but once it did, Cam Neely knew what to do with it, got position, and then spun away to open himself up some room, showing you how he's developed those goal-scoring instincts. That's what the good goal scorers do. They get position on you, they get the body contact, and then they separate so you have room to keep that stick loose, to get your stick on the puck, and once he did, he made an unbelievable shot. One thing to get the backhand on, but to control it like that, to get it top shelf under the crossbar, that is truly amazing. Think about that deal that Harry Sinden made. You talk about deals that just make franchises. Harry Sinden giving up Harry Peterson in exchange for Cam Neely and a #1 draft choice that proved to be Glenn Wesley, who himself is having a dynamite series.
Here's Dave Christian stick handling out to center ice. Christian gets across the line, held up by Ridley on the play. The puck goes to the corner, and finally Burridge is over to get it. He's checked by Langway. Out comes Kelly Miller to center. Now to Ridley, to Leach across the line. Steve Leach, wrist shot wide of the Boston net. Johansson throws it behind the goal, and Christian is there to take it. Flips in the air and clears it all the way down. And Calle Johansson turns it around to start back. Leads it ahead to center ice. Druce putting it back inside the Boston zone, and Bork clears it away. Back come the Bruins. Don Sweeney over to Bob Gould. Checked by Stevens. Rouse to the corner after. Throws it behind the net. And Hunter on the right wing out for Druce. Deflected at center ice. Here's Scott Stevens back to take it. Rink-wide pass, and it's grabbed by Bork off the boards. Ray Bork back into the Washington zone. Portnall held up by Carter. Scott Stevens. Right side for Hunter. And out to center ice. Gets away from Janney. Hunter on the right wing. And finally, Janney works it loose and comes back for Boston. Janney across the blue line. Bruins leading 3-1. Here's Galley walking in, turns, fires, but it's way up high off the glass. Now Steve Leach for Washington. Leads it ahead on the left wing. Portnall cutting in. He's open. He shoots, and it hit the side of the net. The crowd reacting, thought it had gone in the goal, but Portnall's shot was not on net. It hit the side of the Boston goal. Here's Neely coming back. Bruins change the line, and here come the Capitals starting back. Sheehy out to center, now to Ridley. Inside the Boston zone. Kelly Miller behind the goal, held up on the play by Sweeney. Now Ridley works it free. Rouse at the side of the net. Has his shot attempt blocked. And the Bruins again clear back to center. Stevens back into his own end. Long lead pass. Makes its way through all the players. And as it goes into the other end, into Boston ice, Sweeney is there to pick it up for an icing call. 14:37 to go in this third period. Boston's lead is now at 2.
Only at Capital Cadillac can you experience the Capital Commitment, featuring lifetime lubrication, oil, and filter change with the purchase of your new Cadillac. Capital Cadillac, located on the Capital Beltway, exit 23 in Greenbelt, Maryland. Well, down by 2, 14:37 left to go. The Caps have to open everything up, and that last shift, Bob Rouse down in a position where you normally see a right winger pinching all the way down from his right defensive position, be standing in front of the net, trying taking a poke at the puck, trying to get it by Andy Moog. This is what the Capitals have to do, but the way the Bruins have counterattacked so spectacularly all series long, this is going to also open things up for them for some 3-on-1s, 2-on-1s, and some flat-out breakaways. But you have to do it. You just have to open it up at this point in the game, Mike, with everything you got.
Here's Scott Stevens, back of the goal, now to start out. Stevens being hawked by Bob Sweeney. Finally gets free of him and carries the puck to center ice. Launches it back inside the Boston zone, and it's scooped up by Moog, drops it behind the net. And now cleared over the glass and into the seats by Al Peterson of the Bruins while the face-off coming. You're watching the Stanley Cup playoffs on Home Team Sports.
Chocolate. Nature promises the taste of rich, tempting chocolate. Breyers keeps nature's promise with real chocolate. Breyers starts with nothing artificial. Just fresh milk, real cream, and luscious chocolate. So nothing gets in the way of that rich chocolate taste. Breyers ice cream. Or Breyers Light with 1/3 less butterfat than ice cream. We keep nature's promise.
Rob Murray out there to take this face-off against Bob Carpenter to the left of Andy Moog. Time now, 14:14 left to play in this third period with the Bruins on top 3-1. And Washington just unable to get consistent pressure going. Only 11 shots all night. And here, Calle Johansson, after Murray wins the face-off, slap shot misses the net.
In the corner, Alan May for the Capitals puts it behind the goal. Andy Moog steers it along the board. Now Johansson back at the point, keeps it inside the Boston zone. Bork up the boards to center. Langway deflects it. And a bouncing puck finally thrown by Gould back inside the Washington end. Alan May ahead to Calle Johansson. 2-on-2. Johansson with Kypreos, joined by May. Here's Johansson turning at the blue line. Floats it in front. That's deflected wide as Kypreos got a stick on it. Not enough to steer it towards Andy Moog. Galley out to center. Throws it all the way down back inside the Washington zone, and Stevens is there to pick it up. Capitals change on the fly, so do the Bruins. Gary Galley back to his own blue line. Wesley throws it in. It takes a hop off the corner boards and bounds to the side of the Capitals net. Played by Ridley out to center. Galley dumps it back to the line, and again Scott Stevens there to pick it up. Glenn Wesley ahead for Craig Janney. Janney across the line. Looks for Prop. Didn't have his stick on the ice. The puck goes to the corner. Leach throws a hit. Stevens takes over. Scott Stevens to Mike Ridley. Out to center. Now Courtnall across the blue line looking for Ridley, but taken over by Bork. And flipped all the way back out to center ice. Janney walking in. Taken away by Leach. Again cleared to center. Bork is back to get it with John Sweeney. Dale Hunter pulled to the ice. Neely had his arm right on Hunter's sweater and just pulled him down. No penalty call on it. And Bork clears it out to center. Kent Painter back into his own zone. Leads a pass ahead for Rouse. John Bruce got a stick on it, but Burridge comes up with a puck now back inside the Washington zone, has it behind the net, turns and centers for Poulin. That misses and goes back to the point. Now Peterson right in front. Poulin a shot. Hit the side of the goal. Painter back to get it. Off the boards to the point. Slap shot. Peterson. That's deflected wide, and Liut grabs it on the carom off the glass and hangs on to stop play with 11:40 to go here in the third period.
On the Capitals goal, give the second assist to number 8, Rouse, rather than number 17.
So they're taking an assist away from Mike Ridley and giving it to Bob Rouse now on the goal by Kyprios. So it's Kyprios from Leach and Rouse in period 2.
Well, you know, the Capitals, Mike, still have yet to get a shot on Andy Mogan this period. We played 8 minutes and 20 seconds of the third period. A desperate team that has to come from behind, and the effort is there, the results are not, and again, so much of the credit has to be given to this Bruin defense that remains almost airtight in front of their goaltender, a man who sat behind Grant Fuhr for so many years when Edmonton was winning, and who really has stepped into the forefront right now with the Boston Bruins and proving what kind of quality player he is.
Johansson drives it back inside the Boston zone. Langway at the point. Over to Hunter. Now to Druce at the side of the net. Swept away by Peterson. And back to Dave Christian. He dumps it out to center ice, and here's Langway to get it. Over to John Druce. Druce belts it off the board to hit the referee Dennis Morrell. And stays in play as Peterson picks it up. Clears it all the way down the ice, and this will be icing as Langway goes back to get it. The face-off returns to the Boston zone. It's amazing how, you know, you think about the playoff series as a whole with Caps playing against the Devils, the Rangers, now the Bruins. Washington has lost only 2 games here in this building in all those series. Coming into tonight's game with them trailing. It's pretty hard to imagine having taken 2 losses, if they would lose this game, to have 2 losses in a row, where they had only 1 loss, and this building in all those other series.
Yeah, and never gone more than 3 losses in a row with Terry Murray at the helm. And tonight, they lose this game, it's 4 in a row. And when things go, they really go, and particularly when you're going up against a team that is brimming with confidence, every mistake gets magnified because they seem to be making you pay. But you know, as we look at what the Capitals have done with retooling, young players replacing old players, with the Boston Bruins doing almost exactly the opposite, really stocking themselves up on veteran players. They are looking at winning it all now. The Capitals are looking, certainly would have loved to have been into the Stanley Cup Finals, but really are trying to look at another bigger picture.
Here's Carter racing down the ice, taken out by Stevens. Super play by Scott Stevens. Does not draw a penalty and takes the man and the puck. Here comes Pavanka coming back, right side for Berglund. Into the corner for Pavanka. He centers, but Bork is right there to steal. And slides it ahead to Wesley. Over on the right wing. Bob Gould throws it into the Washington zone, and Sheehy is back to get it. Up the right wing boards for Berglund. Now Sweeney back in the corner after. Leads it ahead for Hawgood. Flip-flop back into the Washington zone, and Langway is there after. Rod Langway off the board. Hawgood has it stolen at the point by Leach. Leach across the line. Drop pass. Johansson skating in, but can't get to it. The Bruins come back 2-on-1. Here's Hawgood. He fires, and it's deflected, and the puck rises well up into the seats for a Stanley Cup souvenir.
Rod Langway getting his stick on that shot to deflect it up high. You mentioned earlier, Mike, super plays all night long from Scott Stevens. This is a great play. Watch how he makes sure he gets the puck first. If he doesn't get the puck first, if he takes Carter down without getting that puck first, probably going to get called for a penalty. That is a dynamic defensive play. Get in there, sweep that puck away, and then take the man out. All night long, by far the best game Scott Stevens has played. And remember, there's no question he is still not 100% because of that injury to his left shoulder. But put that all beside him tonight, and is certainly led by example. Carpenter now again to take this face-off. Dale Hunter will oppose him with Druce and Kelly Miller out there for the Capitals.
Gould chasing now and is tied up with Miller on the sideboards. The puck cleared to the point but not out. Shot wide of the Washington net. And Bob Rouse is over to take it. Here's Rouse ahead on the right wing now. Druce across the blue line to Miller. Druce in the corner fighting for it. Throws it behind the net. Druce turning to wrap it around. A shot. Let it go by Hunter. The Capitals won't die. Dale Hunter makes it 3-2.
Well, here you go. Once again, who wins this battle in the corner and behind the net? It's the Washington Capitals. And look at the job Hunter does. Holds on to the stick of Carter to allow Druce to get to it and just plants himself in front. What a dynamic play by Dale Hunter. Look at him hold on to that stick. Certainly could have gotten called for a penalty, but doesn't. And that gives John Druce all the time he needs. And then Dale Hunter just moves himself up into that slot, puts it home. And when the Capitals get a little bit of body traffic in front of Andy Moog, they've been able to score goals. Still plenty of time left to go in this one with 9:33 left in the clock. And the Capitals back within one.
Well, the Caps have to get the next goal, too. They can't give another one up to the Bruins. Here's Rouse back with Stevens. Druce and Miller assisting at 10:27 on Hunter's fourth of the playoffs. The crowd again comes alive. Janney works to center. Throws it back into the Washington zone. Boston 3, Washington 2. Here's Rouse playing at the center for John Druce. Druce to center ice. Drives it back into the Boston zone. Capitals start a line change. Puck cleared to the blue line. Stevens keeps it in. Now in the corner, Miller goes in after Bork. Bork plays it up the boards for Prop. Prop throws it to center. Stevens back after it for Washington. Over to Calle Johansson. Johansson winds up and drives it inside the Boston zone. Slovanka takes the shortcut behind Andy Moog. Just missing the goal, but the Bruins come out to center. It's thrown by Neely back into the Washington end. Boston completes their line change, and here's Johansson. Now dumping it into the corner. Here's Peterson back to get it. Slap shot from the point by Langway, blocked in front of the net. The Bruins come back. Burridge out to center. Johansson steals. He drives it on inside the Bruins zone. Now Peterson comes back for Boston. Over to Galley. And out of the zone to center ice. Langway back to his own line. Leads it ahead for Steve Leach. Lead pass, left side. Courtnall is in. Fires! And a save as Andy Moog was down to stop that blistering slap shot from Courtnall on the left wing. Now Poulin throws it back inside the Washington zone. Taylor's back to get it. Burridge takes a hit at him. Over comes Leach on the right wing, out to Wrigley. Wrigley throws into the corner. Carpenter back to get it. Outside the line, Painter throwing into the corner. And the Bruins' Burridge back to get it, but offside is called here against the Washington Capitals. 7:31 to go in the third period. The Caps trail by 1.
Think of the glass on the left as a new 1990 Honda Accord LX. Now think of the glass on the right as a new 1990 Toyota Camry LE. Interesting. The Camry offers more and costs less. If you're looking for the best value, the choice is obvious. Toyota Camry. More car for less money. See your Toyota dealer. We deliver value today and tomorrow.
With the game on the line, Dale Hunter doing it at every end. He has just scored the goal to put the Capitals on top. Then rides Brian Prop down. Sneaks a little something extra in there. This is what has Dale Hunter in the ire of all the people in Boston, but this is why Dale Hunter is a great player. He's doing it, just leading this team, trying to get anything done possible. And you know, I agree with Terry Murray. There's not a team in the National Hockey League that would love to have Dale Hunter on their club. You may not love all the tactics he uses, but there's no question he has done it all his entire career. And what you see is what you get out of Dale Hunter, one of the great players in the NHL.
Look a few years down the road, Al, towards expansion. Here comes an icing call. Well, if you figure his career's finish out, who better would you pick? to put on an expansion roster than a guy like that to provide leadership and certainly put some people in the building.
That's if you could ever pry him away. You know, he's such a great guy, too. And, you know, Gary Galley knows him as well, along with Bobby Gould, probably better than anybody. And Galley was a teammate and a neighbor when Gary Galley was here in Washington. Bobby Gould, boyhood friend. And they both kind of grin and shake their head. You know, every other of the Bruins are just furious at Dale Hunter. But these guys will tell you what a great guy Dale Hunter is. A tremendous practical joker. Stole some doors off Gary Galley's Jeep one year in the middle of a real cold spell here. Galley had to drive around with no doors, and they showed up a couple weeks later at a Capitol dinner on the appetizer table. And this is the type of guy Dale Hunter is. Keeps everything loose on this club.
Who drove by Hunter on the expressway that day while there were no doors on the Jeep? Brian Murray. He saw it.
Looked, laughed, just shook his head, and drove on.
Here comes Scott Stevens leading it ahead on the right wing now to John Drew. 3-2 score. Boston has the lead, but the Capitals fighting to get into a tie here. The puck gets away from Stevens at the point. Down the right wing comes Janney. Walking in. He centers it, and he couldn't find Prop. The pass overled. Now back to the corner. Johansson. Janney really had room to put that on Prop's stick, but the pass well ahead of him. Here comes Kelly Miller. Back now for Washington. Up to center ice with Drew. Flips it across the line. The Capitals start a line change. Prop along the boards out to the blue line, and it's out of the zone, according to linesman Kevin Collins. And offside is called against Washington. Langway did not like the call.
Well, you see the Capitals last few times down the ice not trying to do anything fancy. Dump it in deep. Andy Moak helping his cause along, though. Getting out very quickly, sliding up the boards for one of his defensemen who did play it outside of the line. Caps with only 2 shots on Moak so far this period. They scored on their first shot of the period, as have the Boston Bruins, as they only have 1 shot on goal with 6:11 left to play. Now a little more juggling going on. Kelly Miller has been out there playing with Hunter and Drews. Jeff Courtnall now has moved with Ridley and Stephen Leach. Those 3 are out there right now for the Caps.
Ridley fishing for the faceoff, and finally Courtnall finds the puck. Gets it away from Poulin. Burridge comes up with it as the puck striking Leach in the shoulder, and here's Burridge back into the Washington zone. Langway comes up with it now for the Capitals. Up to center ice for Ridley. Throws it across the line. Back inside the Boston zone. Taken behind the net. Rouse into the corner, but Burridge has it for Boston. Leads it all the way to center. Langway takes over again for Washington. Left side, Courtnall. Back into the corner. Played off the glass to the Boston blue line. Here comes Poulin to center. Left side for Burridge. Walks in and fires, and Liu's down with a stick to make the save. Now Rouse in the corner. Cleared by Leach. All the way back into the Boston zone. And the Bruins' Ray Bourque has the puck. Bourque, the plus-minus leader for both teams coming into tonight's game at plus 11 for the playoffs. Has improved upon that already in this contest. Here's John Sweeney. Stolen. Backhand shot by Pavanka. It hit Bourque's skate. Backed up the boards to the point. Stevens a slap shot. Blocked. Christian giving it away to Stevens. Stevens walking in. Takes it behind the goal. Centers it. Could not find any Washington sticks to make contact with. Comes all the way back to the Capitals line for Johansson. Here's Stevens. Up the middle. Hunter across the line. Breaks in. He's hooked to the ice. And nothing called on the play. At the point, John Druce tries to keep it in. Druce goes to the corner. Galley hit on the play, and now Miller tries to work it loose. Back to the blue line for Sheehy. A shot deflected. Knocked down to Druce. John Druce behind the net. And Galley has the puck covered behind the goal. Now Sheehy throwing it over the netting and back to the point. Langway keeps it in. Gives it to Druce. Winds up a slap shot. Deflected wide. Hunter chasing after it. Bumped by Galley. And Gould hit on the play. And now we've got a penalty call coming. Hunter is the man being sent to the box. And he has inflicted injury here upon Gary Galley, who appears to be in severe pain lying on the ice. Hunter was upset that a penalty was not called when he was pulled to the ice earlier. And here he is caught slashing Gary Galley.
so sure, Mike, if he's not, this is just going to be 2 or 5. Well, the penalty door is open as the Boston Bruins screaming from their bench for a 5-minute deliberate intent to injure penalty. Gary Galley, we told you, certainly good friends with Dale Hunter. Talked about a spear that he received from Dale Hunter in the first game, and that kind of surprised him. And wonder if he's going to have a little change of attitude about his friend Dale Hunter.
Well, if Dale Hunter put that kind of pain on Gary Galley by slashing him, and you can see how he's treating his left arm or his left hand after the slash, no question Dale Hunter belongs in the penalty box. But I also think that Dale Hunter was fouled charging between the Boston defensemen earlier. Dennis Morrell was negligent in not calling a penalty there.
I agree with you there, and it's what I talked about before this period began. Not only will the Caps be under the gun here, but what about Morrell? With the Capitals trying to play catch-up hockey, they're just going to be storming the front of that net. The Bruins are going to have to throw them down, wrap them up, try and keep the way clear for Andy Moog as much as possible, and that puts the pressure on a guy like Dennis Morrell to make the call. And with Dale Hunter busting in towards the front of the net, wrestled to the ice, Dennis Morrell has called very little this entire game, and really, obviously, put the whistle there away until the Dale Hunter slash, which, with that much pain, certainly is deserved. Yeah, I mean, that's just a vicious two-hander, and there's no question there's something that deserves to be called there on Dale Hunter.
I think Gary Galley hurt his hand when he fell to the ice. I don't think the slash really injured his hand. I think his hand was pushed back on making contact with the ice, and if we can see that replay again, I think we'll have a good opportunity to examine it with that in mind. No doubt that Hunter slashed at him, but Gary Galley doesn't show any pain here, Al. Watch his face. When he is hit and turns, he's fine. He's not hurt. Now watch as he's pulled and goes. Look how that hand hits.
Yeah, but Mike, he was grimacing before he even went down there, and I think that hand did get caught by that Hunter slash.
Well, in any event, Hunter's in the box because of the slash. And Washington is shorthanded. Here's Propp with it. Plays it off the backboard. The Bruin power play will be utilized by them merely to try and keep the Capitals at bay. Washington shorthanded, fearful of opening up too much, with a 1-goal deficit already staring them in the face, and so little time remaining. Wesley to Bork. Back to Wesley. Stolen. John Druce with a puck. He's ahead with Berglund across the blue line. Druce walking in, fires, and Moog to save. Rebound! Berglund hammered at it with his backhand, but couldn't make contact. A minute to go in the Hunter penalty. Here's Janney trying to get around Sheehy. Knocked to the ice. Janney was struck by the stick of Sheehy. Play has been called. And I don't think there's going to be a penalty call so far against Sheehy, but I would be certain that Janney will argue for that. Janney went sprawling to the ice right in front of Sheehy, who sort of waved his stick at him and appeared to make contact. Let's watch it again.
Well, I think it may have just been the knee or skate of Neil Sheehy. When Craig Janney tried to apply the brakes, he fell down to the ice. And that's where the contact with Sheehy came up. Yeah, I think that's down. Maybe caught Sheehy's knee as he was going down. Caught his nose on it.
No penalty call here. 54 seconds still remaining in the call to Hunter. 2:48 left in the third. The crowd not receptive to Janney's injury situation as he skates back to the Bruins players bench. The faceoff will be out in neutral ice just outside the Washington blue line. Berglund is on, along with Rouse and Sheehy, and Druce, the other penalty killer. The Bruins have Bork and Wesley out there. Christian on the left. Burridge on the right. Poulin at center. Now Druce and Berglund head back, and it'll be Wrigley and Miller coming on for Washington. And the Caps get the draw. Here's Langway with the puck. backhands it out to center and all the way down back into the Boston zone. There won't be much time to attack once Hunter gets back on the ice. Just under 2 minutes. Liut ties up. Stevens works it free. Poulin has it taken away. Langway behind the goal, now taken away by Christian. Back of the net pass, misses. Poulin goes to the boards after. Scott Stevens works it away. Clears out to center ice. And all the way back inside the Bruins zone. Capitals have beat up on the Boston Bruins physically again here tonight. Were they to tie this game, could certainly bode very well for them going into a 5th game in Boston on Friday. Here's Burridge. Over to Poulin. That is, if the Caps could tie them and then beat them. Hunter comes out of the box, and now Wesley takes a cross check from Ridley. The penalty is over to Hunter, and Hunter and Wesley talk it over right at the blue line. Washington is at full strength. We had 1:52 left to play in the 3rd period.
This faceoff will be back in the Washington end because Rod Langway was called for knocking the puck down with a high stick. Kevin Collins very quick to get in between Wesley and Ridley doesn't want to let it go. He's ready to go after Glenn Wesley.
You don't see Mike Ridley out in that frame of mind very often. Take a look at Wesley. There's a good look at the side of his face. And that injury came from Hunter in Game 3.
Something had to be done to Mike Ridley to get him this irritated. But a guy in Glenn Wesley, as we talked about, Harry Sinden, was able to pick up because of that trade to Vancouver, Barry Peterson for Cam Neely and a #1 pick, which turned out to be Glenn Wesley, and who had a dynamic rookie season. Pretty good sophomore year, but has had trouble this year. And I'll tell you, Mike, one of the things that Glenn Wesley will admit to was there were so many trade rumors swirling around at the time Edmonton was looking to move Jimmy Carson. And many of those rumors were centered around Boston, with Wesley going out to Edmonton. Glenn Wesley will tell you it really played on his mind and affected his play. And he feels that he has played much better hockey ever since that trade was completed, with Carson ending up in Detroit. He didn't want to leave Boston, and he's had a very good playoffs for the Boston Bruins.
Carpenter in against Hunter. The Bruins get the draw. Back to Bork. Throws it in behind the goal. Up the boards. Druce clearing out to center ice. Washington back to the frame of mind, thinking about scoring a goal here. They need one in the worst way. Druce to the center line. Hunter, left wing. Over now to Courtnall across the blue line. Jeff Courtnall coming on and throws it behind the net. Bruins Bork clears it up the board. Johansson keeps it in. Back of the goal. Here's Bork. Tied up behind the net. Falls on the puck. Now it's cleared to the corner. And Carpenter ships it out to center ice. Well, it won't be long until Terry Murray will be instructing Mike Liut to come out of the goal and come to the bench in favor of a 6th attacker. Here's Ridley. Has it taken away. Thrown back inside the Washington blue line. Johansson up to center for Leach. We're in the final minute of play. Liut goes to the bench. The Caps put a 6th attacker on. In the corner. Play is called now. The puck knocked down with a high stick. The faceoff will be outside the Boston blue line.
We'll see if this is a time for Terry Murray to take a timeout. I think that's exactly what he's going to do. Call his people over with 52 seconds left to go with this faceoff outside of the line.
He'll give him some rest here before actually calling it. And now it has been called. The Capitals taking timeout. And we have 52 seconds remaining in the 3rd period of this 4th game. As the Bruins going for a sweep over the Washington Capitals, and the Capitals trying to avert that with some very physical play earlier. A goal now would tie them up, and I think shed a whole new light on the remaining games of this series.
It dramatically changed things around. Well, I think I just heard them announce that it was the Boston Bruins calling this timeout. I think Terry Murray was about ready to take his. He'd already had Michael Babanka over at the bench. Babanka waiting for those instructions, but Mike Milbury also recognizing what a dangerous situation this is, and do not take any chances. Finish this game off in style. Don't give the Capitals any hopes of a miracle, which a goal here with 52 seconds left certainly would do. Now Mike Liut comes back in towards the net. He's back there by the hash marks, and if the Capitals can gain this draw with Dale Hunter taking it and dump it in, that remain here at the Capitol Center up and on their feet cheering. Not many have left, and they're all standing. It is Boston's timeout. So the Capitals still have a timeout remaining. Johansson has to go back into his own zone as the bouncing puck got over his stick. And here comes Johansson, and there goes Liut. The Caps put a sixth attacker on. It hops off the stick of Korknall, and again is dumped back inside the Washington zone. Calle Johansson behind the empty Capitals goal. So little time remaining. Ridley dumps it in. And it hops over the glass. This will be a face-off in the Boston zone.
But Andy Moog trying to claim that he never touched it and that puck hit the boards and bounced up, but there's no question Andy Moog got a piece of that dump-in pass and cleared it himself because of that deflection. Dennis Morrell quick to recognize it. And now the Caps have what they need, a face-off in the Boston end. Now we'll see if Terry Murray takes his timeout. Murray waiting until the Bruins get their people out there. Although he's just making some adjustments here. Hunter on this faceoff will try and backhand it to Scott Stevens. Korknall, Hunter, Ridley, and Druce out there.
The Washington net is empty, but the Bruins get the draw. Bork up the boards. Neely can't clear. It's sent rink wide. At the point, Johansson a shot. Knocked down by Bork. Played to the corner board. Neely held up by Druce on the play. And Christian spins it out to center ice all the way down. There's no icing called. And the Boston Bruins have swept the Washington Capitals. The Bruins win the game 3-2 over the Capitals and sweep the series 4 games to nothing. And the Boston Bruins are the new winners of the Prince of Wales Conference Trophy. They crowd around goaltender Andy Moog, who put in a fine performance, as did all these Boston players. And now, listen to this hand for the Washington Capital players as they congratulate goaltender Mike Liut and one another. And what a fine, fine playoff run for the Washington Capitals, the best the team has ever done. And they'll have handshakes now for the Boston players as they'll line up for this traditional exchange, wishing one another all the best. The Caps are ready. They're waiting on the Bruins right now. And the Bruins will move on to meet either the Edmonton Oilers or the Chicago Blackhawks for the Stanley Cup Finals. And the Washington Capitals have finished their playoff run for this year. And I'll tell you, they deserve a lot of applause, and they are getting it from this crowd, who is appreciative of very, very fine hockey played by this team and both these clubs during the playoffs this year. Some congratulations from the Boston players. You know, Boston only had 2 shots on goal during the third period. Washington only had 3. Let's check in downstairs now with Jeff Rimmer.
Thanks, Mike. I'm standing by here. We thought we were going to have Dave Christian, but he was just called over. They want to get a team picture over there on the other side, so we'll return it back upstairs and try to get Dave right back here. All right, Jeff, the Bruins trying to get themselves organized out there for a picture, as he mentioned, and we'll be ready shortly for the presentation of the Prince of Wales Trophy. You know, you also saw that graphic we had up 17 times in the Stanley Cup Finals, and isn't it ironic, Mike, that tomorrow will be the 20th anniversary of the last Stanley Cup? If all you people remember the Big Bad Bruins of the early 70s with Bobby Orr scoring the winner against the St. Louis Blues and in another sweep that year, and tomorrow will be the 20th anniversary of that feat, and the Bruins certainly look to me like the team that's ready to respond with another Stanley Cup. If they continue to play the disciplined style of play, get their opportunities buried from their big guns like Neely, Janney has done all this series, and certainly for the entire playoffs, and more importantly, maybe get that same type of dominating goaltending from Andy Moog, I say they will beat either Edmonton or the Chicago Blackhawks.
They certainly did a great job in this series, and after holding off both Hartford and Montreal, seemed to get stronger as time went on. The Whalers gave them some trouble early on, but remember that was when they were without Bourque. As you mentioned, the injuries playing a part there, but as they got stronger against the Montreal Canadiens, they were rolling with a full head of steam to play the Washington Capitals, and I thought the Capitals got stronger as time went on too. But as it turned out, with those injuries to Dino Ciccarelli and Kevin Hatcher, the Bruins were just too much, and they did a great job and really played a fine brand of hockey, a very disciplined brand, and the restraint did pay off. And it looks like they're getting ready now for the presentation ceremony downstairs of the Prince of Wales Trophy. And isn't it something to think that now we're having a ceremony like this held in this building? That shows you how far hockey has come in Washington, D.C. Here the Prince of Wales Trophy is in this building. It's not awarded to the Capitals this year, but it was played for here in this rink. And that is a very good thing for the hockey community of Washington, D.C. The Bruins getting set up down there for the ceremony right now.
And they were in this position 2 years ago, 1988. They went to the finals, ended up losing to the Edmonton Oilers. And I think of so many parallels to what's going on now with Boston, with Calgary last year. Remember the Calgary Flames, a dominating team, the best record in the NHL, and they were extended to 7 games by Vancouver in the very first round and pulled it out. The same thing about these Boston Bruins. 7 games from an underdog, the Hartford Whalers, and I think that type of dramatic turnaround and being able to come back against some deep odds by playing without Raymond Bourque and falling behind early in the series galvanized this team, and from that point on, they have not looked back. They exercised a great demon in getting by the Montreal Canadiens, a team that historically has always given the Boston franchise trouble. They got by the Bruins in 5, now have rolled by a very hot Washington Capital team, a hot team coming into this series, and they can certainly look ahead with great confidence to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Through this point, the Bruins have won 12 games in postseason play and lost only 4. They were in 8-4 against their own division before sweeping the Capitals here in 4 straight. And Washington finishes up postseason play with 8 victories and 7 losses after going 8-3 against the Patrick division. Mike Liut played 59 minutes tonight and made 14 saves, giving up 3 goals against, and he takes the loss, making it 4-4 for Liut in the playoffs, while Andy Moog wins his 12th game against 3 losses. He went the distance and made 12 saves, allowing 2 goals against, and in giving up 2 goals tonight, he had prior to that, a 1.33 goals against average against the Capitals in the series. And now we're all set to turn it over downstairs to John Davidson.
Along with the alternate captain, Cam Neely, and Craig Janney is somewhere. There he is. Gil, you have a presentation.
Absolutely. Ray, Cam, Craig, the entire team, the coaches, Mike. It gives me great pleasure on behalf of the National Hockey League and the Prince of Wales Conference to award this trophy, which you've earned, and to tell you that we look forward to, all of us in hockey look forward to a very exciting Stanley Cup Finals, and we wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you very much. It's really been a total team effort. We won this series just like we won the whole year, playing good, strong defense from the goaltender all the way out, really taking care of our end and coming through with some big goals. And, really, Bruins are not just 1 or 2 or 3, 4 guys, 20 guys every time going out there doing the job.
Ray, your team got better as the series moved along. How much better can you get?
Well, I think we could get better, and I think we will. I think 3 steps and 1 more step to go, and I think that, a lot of guys are on a mission here, and we're hungry, and, we want to win it all.
In '88, you were in the Stanley Cup Final. You were swept by Edmonton. You've got a different style of team now, one with a lot more discipline, a lot of speed. Again, what do you think will be the difference going into a final this time around?
Well, we don't know if it's Edmonton yet, but, whoever it is, I think we got a better club, and like you said, we got a lot more speed now, and, we're really playing with a lot of confidence, and we're solid in all departments. So I think whoever we meet, it's going to be a great series, and you know, we're confident, and we're going there to win.
All right, congratulations to you and your complete team. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that concludes the ceremony downstairs as the Boston Bruins have received the Prince of Wales Trophy. They're the new champions of this conference, and certainly a good thing for hockey, as we mentioned earlier, here in Washington, to see the Capitals getting this far and doing so well, even though they were swept in 4 straight. The Bruins simply were awesome.
And now the Capitals have a taste of it. They know what they need to do. Again, it's a team that is starting to rebuild. They've got some key veteran players, guys like Langway, guys like Dale Hunter, but they've got young talent and guys just starting to reach their peak like Kelly Miller, Mike Ridley, Scott Stevens, Kevin Hatcher, a dominating player, got a great goal scorer in Dino Ciccarelli, but they were able to add some young players. They had to get some of the older players out and got some young players in, particularly a guy like John Druce, whose star really rose. Now the Capitals know what it takes to get not only just into the Wales Conference Finals, but they look at this Boston Bruin team and see a great image of what it takes to get all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Many of the fans still crowding around waiting for some sign of Capitals players, but we're going to talk with some of them downstairs or maybe have a visit down near the dressing room area when we return.
If you're searching for great oldies on the radio, the search ends here.